Here we're going to go on a mid-July Sunday morning flight down to Palouse Falls, located in the south central portion of Washington State. It's about an 85-mile trip as the crow flies. And today George and I were taking off out of Phelps Field in Spokane, Washington. As the sleepy town of Spokane lied before us down below, we discovered quickly that the winds were pretty sharp out of the southwest, and we were going to be fighting a headwind all the way down. Turns out we were doing an indicated of 70 miles an hour, but a ground speed of less than 50 miles an hour. This was going to be a long trip. I diverted slightly so I could show George the Rock Lake region of Washington State. This area was affected many times by the Ice Age floods, which were catastrophic back then. It ripped up rock, carrying chunks and boulders as far away as the Pacific Ocean, and gouged in these deep canyons that we see here today. I can only ponder a wall of water several hundred feet high, moving at 60-70 miles an hour, blasting through this area and creating a depth higher than the tree line that you see on both sides of the valley. There's many legends associated with Rock Lake, which is over 400 feet deep. There's believed to be, from the Native Americans, a giant serpent that lives in the lake. Then, in the 1920s, a rail line that ran and skirts the east edge of Rock Lake derailed, and several cars fell and plunged into the lake that were loaded down with brand new Model Ts. They have never been found, and they still lie to this day somewhere down in the depths of Rock Lake. As we approach the south end of the lake, we see that the floodplain broadens out. This is where the floodwaters decreased in velocity and spread out, creating a unique scabland erosion effect on the surface below. Finally, an hour later into our flight, we're getting close to the falls. Here's the Palouse River, and in ancient times the river flowed up the valley there you see behind my trike. But because of the Ice Age floods, it was redirected and created this channel that flowed directly south to the Snake River. Heavy and turbulent winds greeted us as we approached the falls you see there on the left, which is nearly 200 foot high. George and I, while wrestling our trikes in the turbulent air, swung them over to the west, over to this hidden coulee. This was also scoured out by the Palouse River during earlier Ice Age floods. I mentioned to George through here the eeriness of the landscape. It almost looked like the earth was melting back into itself. Okay, it's time for George to take the lead so I can put him on video, and we're getting set up to take another pass overhead the falls. But golly, we were getting hit every which direction by the thermals and the wind shifts overhead the canyon. Palouse Falls is 186 foot high, and here today is where it sits, but it won't be here for long. That waterfall is migrating slowly but surely up that canyon, and will be located miles to the north in thousands of years from now. All right, George, let's take one more pass. I still can't hardly keep control of the trike overhead the canyon. But despite the winds and the bumpiness, what a great day to be out flying overhead Palouse Falls. Finally, we were off target and headed back to Spokane. So we climbed in altitude to find the smoother air, and lo and behold, we had a 25-mile-an-hour tailwind. We were cruising almost 100 miles an hour to get back. During the morning, we sat and pointed out features, discussed and thought about how they were formed and which way the water flowed, and just enjoyed immensely this unique landscape known as Central Washington State. Finally, we reached Rosalia, Washington, where we wanted to stop and stretch our legs. We'd been airborne now for almost 2.5 hours, so this was also a good time to check our fuel levels and make sure we're safe to fly back to Spokane. This was a lot of fun. What a great way to spend a mid-July Sunday morning just cruising around and just enjoying it, the scenery on a nice day. I have to tell you, I'm really looking forward to next Sunday.